Hey everyone, it's Jason, and this is your weekend cruise news update. And we have tourism slowing in two major locations. Is your cruise cabin making you sick? And I want to hear from you. What's the best cruise that you've ever been on? So, cruise story number one, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. So, two islands in Greece, Santorini and Mykonos, are experiencing a downturn in tourism. Now, it's interesting because a few months ago, maybe 3 months ago, we heard the Greek prime minister say we're going to have to do something about tourism in these two islands. They're just getting overrun by tourists and cruise ships. It's just awful. Now these articles are coming out this past week. And the first one was, it was a tour operator. And interestingly enough, he said, "Thank goodness for the cruise ships because my business would be dead. I have no business in the evenings at all. Nothing." And he goes, "The only thing keeping me afloat is tourism from cruise ships." He said, "It feels like a desert here in the evenings." Well, I don't know if that's totally accurate, but then the next article I read, up to 15% decline in tourism. We're seeing other areas in Europe, they don't want tourists. Barcelona, Amsterdam are the two that just come right off my head. Is we going to see something like this in other areas? Are we going to see people maybe flying in, spending less time in Barcelona, just getting on a ship and, enjoying a cruise to the Mediterranean and spending less time back? That's maybe what we'll see. Because here's the thing is, no one wants to go a place and be there and spend thousands of dollars if you're not wanted. No thanks. I'll go somewhere else. I think about me being in Orlando. If people did that, we would be like, what are you doing? You live in Orlando. It's a tourism capital. One of the most visited cities in the United States. Everyone would be confused. Barcelona is a place that people visit. It just is. So are we going to start seeing these in other locations? I think it's a very interesting topic for debate. Can't wait to hear from you in the comments. So cruise story number two, is your cruise cabin making you sick? So a passenger was on the Carnival Panorama, cabin 9258, inside cabin. They said they got to their cabin and they smelled an odor. They said, well, it's happened before on other cruises. Maybe it'll go away. And it does happen that way once we're underway. They said they woke up the next morning and they said they weren't feeling well and this odor was still very much present, even stronger. They went down to guest services, told them about it. They called engineering. Engineering came up, basically said they couldn't smell anything, but they would put an ionizer in the cabin and they would need to be out for 4 to 6 hours. That's typically the normal time for an ionizer. They get back to their cabin and they still smell it. They said it was stronger. They go back down to guest services. Guest services are kind of at this point just blowing them off. He said they were just acting like they were criminals at this point. Said they were like, well, that's from the ionizer. So they go back to their cabin. They don't know what to do. So they sleep in their cabin another night. They wake up and they're really not feeling good. Now, he did say, this passenger said that they had asthma and allergies. So they said, hey, maybe I'm a little more in tune to it, but there is something absolutely wrong. And they've been requesting new cabins all this time. And Carnival kept denying them. Well, they denied them again a new cabin. They said there's nothing wrong with your cabin. And so they went up to their cabin and started looking around and said, we got to figure out this smell. We're still in this cabin for another 2 days. It's a 4-day cruise. They look at the air conditioning vent. They see some water there. And they unscrew the air conditioning vent. And they see this picture right here. That's mold in the air conditioning vent. Now, we have no idea what kind of mold it is. Is it black mold? What kind of mold is it? And, obviously, if you have asthma and you have some allergies, you're going to be in tune to that probably more so than someone else. They took a picture of it. They went down to guest services, and guest services finally gave them a new cabin. They said, hey, look, more than half our cruise is over. We're requesting a refund. This is unacceptable that we had to go through this and keep telling you something was wrong and you didn't fix it. They said, well, the most we can give you is $24. $24. They pushed back a little bit. They got $50 ship work credit. $50. Now, obviously it's a 4-day cruise, so maybe $800-900 is how much the cruise is, maybe a little more. They said you'll have to call guest services when you get back from your cruise. They call, and they were offered $100 off a future cruise. Said they didn't hear back until they actually emailed John Heel, the brand ambassador for Carnival Cruise Line. No idea if that's related or not. What do you guys think about this? And have you ever checked those vents? Now, I will say this is on Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, the vents are either up high or down below the wardrobes. And I always clean those. And I have to tell you, a lot of times I'm cleaning them with one of those alcohol wipes or, Clorox wipes, and I look at it afterwards and it's nasty. Lori's like, don't let me look at it. Please don't show it to me. She knows I'm the one that cleans it. Because your air conditioning's coming out of there. I don't want to see that. Have you ever experienced something like this? And what do you think about Carnival's response? Ho hum. Can't wait to hear from you in the comments. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like this video, as it does help the channel grow. Also, consider subscribing, as we're on a path now to 120,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If you could help me reach that, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and I want to hear from you guys. What has been your favorite cruise? Now, let's do this. Tell me what your favorite cruise is that you've done in the United States and then outside the United States. So overwhelmingly, I've seen this posted about 3 or 4 different times. Overwhelmingly in the United States was Alaska. Do you agree with that? Or do you like maybe Canada or somewhere in the Caribbean? Want to hear from you on that one. And then outside the United States, I saw a lot of people that said Norway and Antarctica. Have you ever been to Norway? Have you ever gone down the fjords? And what did you guys think of that? Can't wait to hear from you. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you again so much for the support. It means so much to me. And until I talk to you soon, happy cruising.